On January 1st, 1953, the world of music lost its Hillbilly Shakespeare. Hank Williams, the voice of a generation, was found dead in the back of his baby blue Cadillac at just 29 years old. But what really happened on that final fateful journey? Was it a tragic accident or something more? Today, we're diving deep into the final 48 hours of Hank Williams' life, separating fact from fiction and uncovering the truth behind one of music's most enduring mysteries. Our story begins in late 1952. Hank Williams was on top of the world professionally, with hits like Jambalaya dominating the charts. But privately, he was in a downward spiral. Fired from the legendary Grand Ole Opry in August for his unreliability, Hank was battling chronic back pain from spina bifida, and his dependence on alcohol and prescription drugs was getting worse. His last hope for a comeback was a series of shows, including a big New Year's Day concert in Canton, Ohio. Desperate to make it, he hired a 17-year-old college student named Charles Carr to drive him from Montgomery, Alabama, all the way to Ohio in the dead of winter. It would be a journey into the heart of a snowstorm, and a journey from which Hank would never return. The drive was plagued with problems from the start. An ice storm grounded their flight out of Knoxville, Tennessee, forcing them back into the Cadillac. According to Charles Carr, Hank was frail and needed help walking. He was given 2 shots of morphine by a local doctor to ease the pain from his back and recent hiccups, and they continued on. As they drove through the night, Carr remembers Hank being talkative at first, then falling silent. He assumed Hank was just sleeping it off. Last time Carr saw him alive was during a stop in Bristol, Tennessee. Hank looked pale and cold, but Carr wrapped a coat around him and they pressed on. The car pulled into Oak Hill, West Virginia in the early hours of January 1st for a quick stop. Carr went to get some food, but when he returned, he found Hank unresponsive. He touched him, and his body was cold and rigid. Panicked, Carr rushed to a nearby hospital, but it was too late. Dr. Ivan Malinin officially pronounced Hank Williams dead at 7:00 a.m. The cause of death listed on the autopsy report was acute right ventricular dilation. In simple terms, heart failure. The report also noted hemorrhages in the heart and neck, and a mix of alcohol and the sedative chloral hydrate in his system. Officially, there was no foul play, but the story doesn't end there. The mysterious circumstances surrounding his death immediately fueled rumors and conspiracy theories. Why was a 17-year-old driving a superstar through a blizzard? What was in those morphine shots? Some theories, completely unproven, suggested a bar fight or even a deliberate overdose. The official documents, like the West Virginia autopsy report, tell a clear story of a body pushed to its absolute limit. The combination of chronic pain, alcohol, prescription drugs, and the grueling journey proved to be a fatal cocktail for his already weakened heart. While conspiracies make for a dramatic tale, the tragic reality is that Hank's lifestyle and pressures of fame finally caught up with him. The news of Hank's death sent shockwaves across America. His funeral in Montgomery, Alabama was a national event. An estimated 25,000 people, more than the city's entire population at the time, flooded the streets to pay their respects, making it the largest funeral in Alabama's history. Newspapers and radio stations transformed him from a troubled star into a tragic folk hero. This martyrdom had a massive impact on his legacy. Posthumous sales went through the roof. His song, Your Cheating Heart, released just after his death, became an instant classic, and his records sold over 1 million copies in 1953 alone. He became more famous in death than he ever was in life. The aftermath was messy. A bitter legal battle erupted over his estate between his new wife, Billie Jean, and his mother, Lily. They fought over royalties, publishing rights, and control of his image. This legal drama, which foreshadowed the estate battles of later icons like Prince and Michael Jackson, dragged on for years. Meanwhile, his musical influence only grew. Just a year later, a young man from Memphis named Elvis Presley would record his first single, blending the blues with the honky-tonk sound Hank had perfected. So, what if Hank had lived? It's one of music's greatest what-if questions. Would he have embraced rock and roll, or would he have fought against it? If Hank had made it to Canton that day and cleaned up his act, he might have rivaled Elvis for the title of king. His raw, emotional songwriting was the bedrock of modern country music, and his influence is still felt today in artists from Willie Nelson to Sturgill Simpson. His death at 29 cemented his legendary status, but it also robbed the world of decades of music we'll never get to hear. Hank Williams' story is a powerful reminder of the human cost of fame. He was a brilliant songwriter who channeled his pain into timeless art, but ultimately, that same pain consumed him. His final ride in that Cadillac wasn't just a trip to a concert, it was the final tragic chapter in the life of a true American icon. His light may have gone out too soon, but his music continues to shine bright, a lonely, lonesome sound that will echo forever. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the final days of Hank Williams. What do you think really happened on that cold January night? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more stories from music history. We'll see you in the next one.